All right, hello and welcome everybody. This is Doyle Buehler coming to you live. I'm talking my digital strategy sprint today, how to create a GPS to navigate and accelerate the growth of your business online. And do you like that background noise or music? You can actually play a soundtrack in the background. And I'm just wondering if that sounds good or if that's too distracting. We can get your groove on. But look, I'll shut it off just so that it's not too distracting. So excellent. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the live. My name is Doyle Buehler, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my digital strategy sprints: how to create a GPS for your business to navigate and accelerate your business growth online. I'm going to be running through a quick presentation, giving you some good ideas, hopefully that you can go out and implement and get things done as well as you get into it. So really fundamentally, we're talking about building a roadmap so that you know where you need to go and how you're going to get there, and how you can align all of your digital tools and digital strategies and digital platforms and everything else digital and online out there that you have, and just making sure that it allows you to work properly with that and that you're able to leverage that and get things moving for your business, because obviously that's what's important here. So quickly, digital strategy sprint: how to create a GPS for your business to navigate and accelerate your business growth. So if you're watching this live, please feel free to drop in a comment or question at any time. I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. If you're watching this in replay, please just hashtag replay with your question. And again, I will get back to you as quickly as possible, going through the comments and whatnot at the end of the presentation. So I'm looking forward to getting started here. So what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about being the digital challengers. And to me, that's really is sort of like a mindset in terms of what do we want to do? What do we want to be able to achieve from online? And how are we going to be able to do that? A lot of it is up here. It's obviously the tools and the techniques and that sort of thing, but it's also how we think about digital, how we think about online, how we think about accomplishing things online and that sort of thing. So we want to make sure that we understand those nuances between everything as well, and how we can actually do that. So change your attitude, unfuck your head, make an honest, unsentimental accounting of your present condition. Prepare to be disappointed. Define what you want instead clearly. By clear, I mean precise and feasible. An unrealistic objective is sure to sabotage the process. Hit the books, try and error, inquire, risk, mimic, insist, and resist. I love that, right? Very, very powerful in terms of, look, we really need to change things up. We really need to get things done as well. So, look, it's October 2021, right? Where are you from here? Where are you going? What are you doing with your business online, and how are you going to be able to do that? And that's what I really want to be able to cover here as we get into it as well. So my name is Doyle Buehler, as I've introduced myself previously. 19 years of business in the digital and online space, and I guide digital challenger businesses in navigating the daunting digital economy and overcoming the fear, anxiety, and resistance of operating as a true digital first company in the digital decade. I create digital pathfinders, entrepreneurs, leaders, and executives who want to make a bigger impact, get better results, and find better customers online so the world knows who you are and wants to do more business with you. So, why do we want to do this, right? That's the big question. Why do we want to be online? Why do we want to be able to understand what we can do and do better online as well? And how can we kind of coordinate all that different activity? Because if we're not, then we're going to be looking at how do we actually understand these pieces? How are we able to get them done quickly as well? So, technically, it's what I call a journey of discovery and opportunity, right? We'll get 3 steps, and I'm going to be going over these 3 steps. They might seem like, well, they are, let's be honest, they are pretty simple steps, but we want to make sure that we don't oversimplify the problem as well. And that is finding our audience, finding our ability to grow our business online as well. So we want to make sure that we're able to do that significantly over time. Where do we want to go? Well, we want to be able to go to what I call the digital promised land, right? And for different businesses, that does mean different things for different people as well. So spend some time. Like, what does that mean? What to you? What do you want to be able to accomplish online? Is it more customers? Is it bigger audience? Is it being the leader in your industry? Is it being able to provide those really in-depth conversations, or that really detailed business as well that you're able to do as well? So what do we need? Look, some of the things that we can look about: being future proofing our business, being an agile business, options, and growing our reach and global connections as well. Those are my typical answers that I look at as well in terms of how do we actually move our business forward. I'd love to get an idea of, how do you get business done? A lot of times we talk about being online, and it doesn't necessarily mean a lot for everybody, but there's obviously a position of being offline, right? Not using any resources online, whether it's not even Zoom or not even WhatsApp or whatever the case may be, not even social media as well. So there are businesses out there that, guess what, they're offline, and that's totally fine. Not everybody needs to be online. Then we have the sort of the other extreme here, which is 100% online. And again, not every business has to be or is required to be 100% online as well. And want to make sure that we understand that as well. But somewhere within this space is our business, okay? And I'd love it if you could in the chat or the comments or whatever the case may be, let me know where you and your business is on the scale of online, right? Are you, just getting started? Do you have like a Zoom channel? Do you have like a Facebook page, right? Do you have a website? Do you have, a digital experience? Do you have an ability to complete your sales transactions in a transformative manner as well? That's what we're really looking for. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in terms of online? And that will kind of help you position yourself in terms of, well, what do I need to work on next as well? Now, another thing that's really important here is, what does your customer journey look like? And we can be either transactional, okay, where just go buy a product or service or whatever the case may be, do the transaction, and away you go, and you're off on your big adventure and that sort of thing. Something like buying groceries or buying a book or something that's very transactional. It's like, I know what I want, I'm here to do it, and away I go, right? But if we're looking at where are businesses in the future going, the ones that are getting the biggest traction are the ones that are creating that transformation. They're the ones that are saying, hey, we understand this journey that you're going through. We want to be able to make sure that we can provide that transformational journey for you as well. So somewhere in between, again, we're moving from transactional to transformational along this pathway. Where is your business? What kind of customer journey are you able to provide as well? Is it, again, simple stuff? And simple doesn't mean bad. Simple just means that's what your business is. So it doesn't necessarily matter. But do you want to be in more of the transformational space where you're able to, again, bring that customer, bring that audience on a journey across their entire ecosystem as well, so that you're able to provide deep resolution of problems, where you're able to provide a complex solution, and you're able to provide an active enjoyment as well. So we all need to look at that. So if you wouldn't mind in the chat, put where on a scale of 1 to 10 you are from transactional to transformational. Excellent. So the online world is shifting, right? That's pretty clear. It changes every 24 hours, every day. Earlier this week, we had Facebook go down and that sort of thing. So we're obviously seeing things change very, very quickly, and we always need to be ready and prepared for that. And that's why having a strategy, having a roadmap is super critical to being able to do this. So that gives us the opportunity to anticipate some of these problems or anticipate the changes that we might need to do as a result of this as well. So we've been focusing on how many clicks we get, but we really need to shift our strategies to making every click count as well. So that's really important here. It's not just a numbers game. It's being very specific and being able to align your customer journey with the customer journey of your audience. Now, just quickly, one of the things we've seen over the last 18 months is a huge growth of business. Now, these are the businesses that have a very high level of digital adoption. You know how I was talking earlier about that transformation journey and being an online business versus an offline business. The businesses that have made the biggest impact for that business are the ones that have been online, and they've seen a huge amount of growth. And in fact, 35% in 2 quarters. And these stats are from the US. I have some UK and Australia stats as well, but the trends are very, very apparent in all of these major economies around the world. 35% growth of businesses who have a certain level of digital adoption or digital penetration and growth. And these are the businesses that have really been able to accelerate what they've done and how they've done it. And how? Well, they've adjusted their strategy. They've adjusted their roadmap. They've seen, okay, this is the future of the business. This is what I'm able to do. This is how I'm going to do it. So it's very, very important that we look at these and see, how do things actually work? How can we do things differently? And how can we do things better as well as we get into this? So, something to consider, right? That's a huge, let me just flip this pen back. That's a huge difference if we look at that change, right? Over the last 18 months, we've seen a tremendous amount of growth, and it has dropped off a little bit. There has been a little bit of peak, but the businesses that are making the biggest traction, that are growing the most, are the ones who've said, hey, we really need to leverage this online thing, right? It's no longer just a matter of having a website. It's a matter of what do you do with that, not only website, but those web assets and that digital online ecosystem, that experience that you're creating. All these things are really, really important as you get into it as well. And that really brings into effect what I call digital leadership, right? And this is basically looking at, well, how do we find out what's really important here, and how do we sort of everything weighed together? How do we actually decide, okay, well, what is important here? And so I said, 20 to 30% digital penetration. That's right about there, right? Can you imagine where we could be, with our businesses? Let's say we just said, let's go with 75% digital adoption, digital penetration. And again, I'll get into how we actually do that. But the important thing is that if we're kind of stuck down here, what's happening? Not a lot of happening. Not a lot is happening. We're missing a lot of the opportunity as well. Whereas if we say we're in that 75% range, guess what? We're creating these opportunities for our business. Okay, we're not just becoming a follower, we're becoming a leader, and we're becoming understanding more of sort of our digital leadership in terms of where do we need to be. And this doesn't mean that you need to know everything about online and marketing and that kind of stuff, but you need to understand the basics, and being able to leverage your business with these basics is really what ultimately is important as well. And now I really want to talk about the elephant in the room, so to speak, right? And there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work, and there's specific reasons why it doesn't work, but we want to be able to address those, because this is what's kind of wrong with that system and wrong with online and that sort of thing, and what's causing a lot of the trouble and difficulties as well. Ads don't work, funnels are annoying, cookies are confusing, reach is down, and as a result, great businesses get missed. And you need to ask yourself, is this just Facebook, or indicative of what's to come with all online platforms? What will you do when Facebook goes down? What will you do when Instagram goes down rather? And if you're basing your business and your products specifically just on that platform, what are the outcomes, right? What is going to potentially happen because of that, as a result of that? So we need to look at, okay, well, how do we make this system better? How do we really understand that? But one of the things that we need to look at first is how committed are you, right? Where are you right now in your business, and what's really at stake? So we want to make sure that if you're building a roadmap, that you're going to, continue, and you're going to be able to put in those steps as well, because without that, where are things going to go? They're not going to go very far as well. So in the chat, where are you right now with your business? So where are you? What's happening in your business? What are you going to do? How are you going to fix these things and that sort of thing? And looking at 100% commitment is easier than 98% commitment. When you're fully commit to something, the decision has already been made. So online isn't easy, and I'll be saying it more than once. It takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding of how these systems work together. But at the end of the day, you can leverage it and you can use it as best as possible as you get into this as well. All right. So being a business online isn't easy, right? And we've all seen this symbol, right? What's this a symbol of? This is Delta. Okay. And I'm not talking the COVID Delta. Actually, that was horrible. The horrible looking Delta. That's a little bit better. But you remember those in math class, and for those in engineering class, this is the Delta, which means what? Change. It's a symbol for change. And this is how we're able to adapt and to change our businesses as well. And I actually love this. I heard this earlier today. The best angle from which to approach any challenge is the triangle. And I'm actually going to talk a lot about these triangles and how they actually work and how we can use them and how we can leverage them for the business as well. So that's going to be really important coming up. But it's about change, right? And if we can understand that, we can see how it all fits together. So a simple figure like a triangle is our symbol for change. And that's our symbol for what are we going to do next? How are we going to plan? How are we going to prepare? How are we going to know what to do next? Right? How are we going to know how to get to our destination next as well? So we need to be able to adapt and we need to be able to change as we get into this as well. And if we take this a little bit further, one of the things I'm talking about a lot is what I call the digital expedition. And that's based on the fact that we really need to be prepared for business and what business is to come and how to use and leverage our online tools and our online strategies. And if you're not doing that, then you're just kind of sitting in the sidelines. And there are businesses that are, overtaking you or whatever the case may be. The businesses that survive are the ones who understand that this isn't easy, but I really need to plan up front. I really need to be able to take account of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And I really need to be able to apply these strategies as well going forward. So, well, again, what's the symbol of change? It's a triangle. Where does that fit into a digital expedition? Well, if you think of it, there's been so many remarkable expeditions around the world to get humans to where we are today. They didn't start with let's go climb Mount Everest, right? They started before that. They started with a lot of planning and preparation and say, hey, what do we actually need to be able to cross the Atlantic Ocean, to be able to go to the North Pole, to be able to go to the South Pole, to be able to fly an airplane across the Atlantic or the Pacific or whatever the case may be. So it's not a matter of just starting and doing something, right? Although we'd love to, we actually have to build up to that. We actually have to be able to understand how do we get to that position? How do we get to the base camps of Mount Everest if we want to do a Mount Everest expedition, right? And we have to understand that if I asked you today to say, "Hey, let's go climb Mount Everest," right? Let's go do it tomorrow, and the sane person would go, "Hey, wait a sec, I'm not really ready for that. So I think I need to spend some time getting prepared," right? And that's the key point here is that guess what? We've got a long journey ahead of us. It's not going to be easy, but if we understand the steps that we need to take, we're going to make progress because we're planning and preparing and because we're simplifying it as well. So, how do I compare this? I compare it to a safari versus an expedition, right? What's a safari? Well, it's observation and seeing. It's basically going out and watching the zebras and the animals and the giraffes and that sort of thing and trying to avoid getting eaten by tigers. But it's just seeing typically. Okay, safaris can be fun too. But what's an expedition? This is where we're discovering and doing things. So this is how we change our business. We can't change our business by a safari, but we can change our business with an expedition as well. What are some of the great ones of all time? The moon landing, the exploration of the Arctic and Antarctica, first flight across the Atlantic. So again, these were examples, and not everyone has been successful. Let's be perfectly clear too. But we need to understand that this is where we started, and we need to sort of plan and prepare and strategize and get the pieces lined up before we commit ourselves to going on this expedition as well. And how do we do that? If we say we want to get to the base camps, we have to start with a roadmap. Okay. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of minutes. So, what do we want to be able to do? We want to be able to amplify our growth through online. And that's the main reason why I'm here is that how do we actually amplify growth through online? We want to be able to play a bigger game online. We want to be able to smash revenue roadblocks and plateaus. And we want to break a glass ceiling with our growth as well. So it's really important that we can do this, but that we also have the mechanisms in place and the strategies in place to be able to do it as well. Because if not, we're just wasting our time. We're wasting resources. And that's a huge frustration for a lot of businesses. And then I'm going to get into shortly as well. So what are the typical three biggest obstacles? No impact, no traction online, no resources, wasting time, wasting money. Very, very key there. A lot of wasted money out there in terms of not understanding how that's actually going to impact your business. No organization, no structure, confusing and overwhelmed as well. So if you got a second, just in the chat, what are your biggest obstacles and frustrations of online? So what's getting in the way? There's three top frustrations that I see every single day, day in and day out, based on feeling fractured, having friction, and being fragmented as well. And what is fractured? Well, feels like things are broken, right, between online and offline, or what is being done online. It doesn't feel connected or continuous, and this shows up as no sales, no processes, or a rocky journey. What about friction? Well, what is friction? Right? We all kind of know intuitively what that is. It's resistance to moving forward with a plan or being uncertain of what to do. Feels like there is no compatibility or that there's something slowing you down. Is the parking brake still on, right? If you've ever gotten the vehicle, you had set the parking brake before the last time you were in it, you get in and it's like, yeah, this thing is dragging. What's going on? Well, you left the parking brake on it. I've done that too. So don't worry about that. The fact is that shows up as friction. It shows up when you're getting ahead of yourself, when you have a limited strategy, mindset, and mechanics of the choices that you make or don't make as well. So it's very, very important. And the last one, C, is fragmented. So these are small pieces that don't seem to work very well together. It doesn't feel like it is working in unison. It's not like a well-running engine. Okay, so it's not like a marketing engine. It's not like it doesn't feel right. There's pieces that it just doesn't feel like it's running properly as well. It shows up as seemingly disparate landing pages, no digital assets, no overall campaign strategy or structure as well. So it's really important that we kind of understand this and overcome them as quickly as possible. Again, fractured. So what is that? What does it actually look like? Not always organized, no real structure, confusion as to what button to push, overwhelm on what to do, deciding what to do next, knowing where you want to go, not always having clarity with direction as well. In terms of friction, it's what I call unconfidence, right? Not having those specific skills to say, hey, that's part of the digital leadership, is skills and competencies that you bring those into the business from what you have. And that's very, very key to be able to do that as well. No reliable results, little resources in alignment, wasting time, money, little trust, hard selling as well. And then finally, what does this look like? The pain of being fragmented, uninspiring, because of uncertainty, little impact, no traction, and no conversions as well. Does that make sense? Those are the sort of the key pains, the key frustrations: being fractured, being creating friction, and then feeling fragmented as well. All right, so how do we overcome these? Well, guess what? Pretty simple. If we're feeling fractured, it's because we're not feeling very capable. We're not using our skill set. We're not using our business understanding. We're not using sort of that understanding of our capabilities that allow us to do that. We're not understanding how our customer journey fits together, how to make money out of this, how to monetize it, how to use our specific assets and our brain power and team power and that sort of thing as well. So it's called being capable. What about friction? How do we overcome friction? Well, quite simply, being confident. We know what we need to know and we know what we need to do as well. So if we've got those two ingredients, we're able to do that very, very effectively. So if you're able to bring that to the forefront, if you're able to understand how to do that, you're reducing the friction, right? You're confident in what you do and how you do it through strategies and through tactics and through everything else, but that's reducing the friction. And then finally, feeling fragmented. How do we do that? Well, we need to be compelling. We need to be able to understand how can we create an offer? How can we create an experience? How can we create, an ecosystem that really ties our audience together and helps them to be able to understand that journey of transformation that we're bringing them on. And that is ultimately the ultimate goal here. And this becomes our growth pathway strategy, right? This becomes our GPS once we put all these pieces together. Once we put the being capable, being confident, and being compelling together, that is in fact our GPS. So I want to quickly go through this step by step. In terms of being capable, as I spoke of first, what is that? Like, what does that actually mean? Well, it means persuasive positioning. And we're able to do that through creating an amazing customer journey of transformation, creating an irresistible value and monetization, and unlocking our expertise in our zone of genius as well. What are we good at? What are we really able to overcome? And how are we really able to offer that value as well that's key with our customer? Moving along to B. So what about how do we overcome friction? Being confident is what I said. And what does that actually mean? That's tenacious targeting. Okay. So we're looking at magnetic measurement, and to decide with data, we have to be able to be smart with our decisions. We need to be able to have a precision digital toolkit rather, and a tech stack that works, and we know how it is pieced together and how it's supposed to work. And we need to look at our omnipresence, we need to look at our automations, and we need to look at streamlining and your processes and that sort of thing. So that's how we become confident with what we do, to be able to overcome the friction. And then finally, what's the last one? We're feeling fragmented, so we can be more compelling to overcome that. And how do we do that? Well, creating connected and craving clients as well. And this is where we look at things like alluring, inviting, and engaging environment. So people want to stay. People want to see what's going on and how you're able to do it and that sort of thing. We want to be able to create it through tantalizing and relevant digital assets and foundations that connect with your audience. And we want to create an immersive and enchanting digital experience, a remarkable digital experience worth remembering, as I always say. So it's really important that we look at these specific things and how they can actually fit together. So if we look at them all together, piece by piece, right? Remember I was talking about persuasive positioning? Whoops. Let's go back to highlight. Persuasive positioning, tenacious targeting, and connected and craving clients. This is just an overall map in terms of how it all fits together. So this is our business GPS. By overcoming our fractured, friction, and fragmented, by how? Well, creating persuasive positioning, tenacious targeting, and connected and craving clients as well. And then these are the specific steps that we need to get into. And what does that look like at the end of the day? It looks like a roadmap. It looks like a business GPS to say, here are the steps that I need to take. If you take these in order, what you've done is you've really created a roadmap. Okay. We've gone from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we made it to our target. Okay. We made it to our destination. And I'd love to hear now, like, how many businesses out there right now know exactly where they're headed. And if you do, please put that in the comments or in the chat, because that's the ultimate goal here. It's our objective. Objective of business. Why are you in business, right? And how are you going to know when you get there and where, right? So it's very, very important that we understand these pieces of this journey, of this map, so we can simplify it, right? This might look a little bit confusing, but as we break it down, you'll see it. We create these 9 steps and we put them into a specific roadmap to say, how do we actually get there? How do we program it into our GPS? And one of the simplest things of a GPS is you don't necessarily use it all the time, right? Once you've kind of gone to your destination, you've entered in the details, you programmed your GPS or picked an address or whatever the case may be, you don't necessarily need to program it and plug it in every single time. And that's the good thing about business as well. It's that once you do something once you have a better understanding of the journey that you're going to be taking, you don't need to specifically program it into it. It becomes more intuitive. It becomes more an understanding of, okay, yes, I need to do this, and I need to have these steps and these strategies and these techniques and these tactics as well. So that's fundamentally what we're trying to do here, is create a business GPS that lays the framework, lays the foundation, lays the roadmap forward so that we're able to do that. Excuse me. All right, so let's continue here. So hopefully that makes sense. So this fundamentally is that roadmap. And we've taken these 9 steps from the 3 frustrations, grouping them together as well to be able to create that roadmap as well. Now I want to help you simplify this a little bit more as well, so that you can actually take some action here. So remember, we talked about persuasive positioning, tenacious targeting, connected and craving clients, right? And what did that look like? That looked like our triangle here, A, B, C. What do we need to know for each of these as well? And again, these are questions that you can screenshot this. I've got a quick little gift at the end if you want to. I can send you the download of this as well, so that you can fill this in specifically for your business also. So just answer, the questions. How do you make your customer journey feel harmonized? How do you make your sales process feeling methodical? How do you deliver your expertise effectively and efficiently? How do you measure more with data and your experience? What specific tools do you need and can you use? Can you streamline your processes with automations and planning? How are you connecting your online and offline environments and ecosystems? Number 8, what relevant digital assets are you building and using? And number 9, how are you magnifying your digital customer experience? If you can answer all of those questions, which, you know what, I'll bet you can, because you've been doing business for a while, that allows you to be able to understand those pieces and how you put them together as well. So if you can answer those questions, and again, I bet you can right now, guess what? You've actually created your roadmap. It just might not feel like it's necessarily from A to B. It might feel that you're going in all different directions as well, but this helps you organize it. This helps you understand the different pieces that you need to be able to do that as well. All right. So again, take a screenshot if you like of that questionnaire, because that you can then outline in terms of your specific steps going forward as well. And what does that mean? Well, that's where this whole kind of thing comes together. All right. So we've talked about how do we overcome the frustrations by persuasive positioning, our 3 steps, and looking at tenacious targeting, the 3 steps, and then connected and craving clients. So really, fundamentally, it comes down to creating a map, a roadmap, which is what this is, to be able to understand those steps that you need to take to be able to encompass that full journey of transformation for you and your business and your audience as well. So pretty easy, right? Not that complicated. It's just getting it on paper. And that is where we talk about, this ultimate call to action. This is your objective. Oh, try that again. This is your business objective. And again, a lot of businesses actually haven't written this down. So writing it down, saying this is my business objective, this is my call to action for my customer, for my audience. That's what gives you that traction to be able to do that. Because why? Well, because you can plug it in. Excuse me. You can plug it into that ultimate growth pathway that you want to be able to move forward on, and that's what's the ultimate goal that you want to achieve here as well is. So how do we enroll this even further? I've got one gift that I want to give you as well at the end of this presentation, but basically what we're talking about, I'll just, excuse me, just quickly change screens here. Being able to take that triangle, that delta sign. So if you remember, we talked about the delta, the change symbol, it comes down to a triangle. And what I've done is actually created a quick little tool, an online tool, where you can generate basically a 3-dimensional model of the challenges, but also of the opportunities, and also of the way in which you're able to overcome those challenges as well. It's called what I call a Stratahedron. But if you're looking at it at solving problems and telling your story, this is one of the tools that you'll actually be able to use. And again, there's a gift at the end, a link at the end, if you want to click on that, that allows you to be able to create one of these. So every step along the journey, again, is a change in the journey as well. So we have to understand what that is and how to be able to use it. And then we can take this and we can actually talk about our business. We can talk about our strategy. We can talk about how we're going to implement our business strategy as well, which is key, because each of these elements, each of these faces has specific pieces. And those are all of the 9 little elements that I spoke of earlier as well for each of the areas as well. So it's a great little tool to be able to tell your journey, your story of digital transformation, how you provide that value to your customer as well, and your audience also. So take a look at it. It's simple to create. I have an online builder as well that allows you to sort through that, and that's really is a discovery process. It really is fundamentally asking you those 9 questions, right? In terms of what does it do and how can it affect you and that sort of thing. And then you're able to print it out onto an A4 card and then fold it into a nice little tetrahedron as well. So just about ready to wrap up here. The digital challenge for business. So what we need to really look at is how are we actually going to use this? How are we going to be able to make it easier and better for us and our businesses as well? So as the world adapts and changes, businesses need to adapt, change, and transform with the times, and that requires the knowledge of knowing what your customer is doing, how they're doing it, and what they want to do. So ask yourself, what are you missing out on? And digital pathfinders should see this time as tremendous opportunity. Looking at different markets that you'd be able to implement, looking at different ways in which you can get in contact with your audience and help them in their journey as well is absolutely key here, and that's where the big opportunity exists here. So are you curious about what your new roadmap can look like? And again, this is what I call the GPS, the Growth Pathway Strategy roadmap. It's basically allowing you to create that challenge to say, these are the 9 steps that I need to be able to follow. If I can answer these questions, I can put them in an order, and then that becomes automatically and intuitively your roadmap forward. So it's not that difficult. What's key though is that you have a clear strategy, you have a clear plan, you have a clear opportunity to be able to do this as well. So I do have, just so you know, a growth pathway strategy GPS project that's coming up soon. Applications will be opening soon. But what it is 100 days to your digital business growth pathway strategy, right? Create your savvy strategy for online business domination. Build the 3-step roadmap protocol to position your business to fully engage online. So that's coming up soon. If you'd love to follow along, just connect with me on the socials or on email or whatever the case may be, and I'll fill you in on the details coming up as well. So what can you do now? I've got some links here. If you wanted to take a look at those, I'll also put them in the chat. But if you take the Business GPS scorecard and go to bit.ly/businessgps, all the GPS is in uppercase, and that will take you to the a business GPS scorecard. And if you're able to do that within the next 24 hours, I've got a whole bunch of gifts that I'll be able to send you over. The special roadmap summary and what you can improve now, a roadmap diagram, a roadmap Stratahedron, the roadmap discovery kit, and the roadmap worksheets rather, and then a PDF copy of my book as well, Breakthrough. Pretty cool, right? Lots of good stuff there. If you want to kind of jump the queue, just say, hey, Doyle, I need some help. I need some clarity here. I need some certainty in terms of what I want to do. Just jump on over to bit.ly and we'll set up a quick and hot meeting that's very, very short, that you can decide exactly what you want to do, where the opportunity, we can find some quick opportunities, some low-lying fruit, and get you on your way and getting you master of your digital domain. All right, so that's all I have for right now. So I'd love it if you could do the, see where you are. The next step is bit.ly/businessgps, and that gives you a really good indicator of, okay, what along those 9 steps that I spoke of, what's really important here, and how do I rank and how do I rate myself based on those specific criteria as well. So you can go through that, gives you a score at the end. So it's actually quite a little fun tool because you can see what's going on and how things are working and how things are not working, or how I could do things a little bit easier, a little bit better as well. So head on over to there, bit.ly/businessgps. And then, like I said, if you want to jump the queue, get more details on the Growth Pathway Strategy Project, please just book in a time, bit.ly/quick and hot, and I'll be able to get things rolling for you. So that was fun. Thank you. Turn the music back on. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, happy to answer any questions that you might have. Ingrid, welcome. Thank you very much for coming on down. This always makes sense with you. Perfect. Love it. Thank you so much for joining in, Ingrid. Thank you, everybody else as well. for joining in. Whoops, I didn't want to press that. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat or the comments. If you're on replay, just hashtag replay, and then I'll know exactly where you are. Cool. Thanks, Lillian. Thanks, Ingrid. Thanks for everybody else who's watching and listening as well. And happy to help out wherever I can. So I shall end the stream now. And thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And we will see you guys online.